Oil firms to implement big-time fuel price rollback this week. National Democratic Front peace negotiator signifies intent to peace talks with President Rodrigo Duterte.
The President conveys his support for mechanisms that will enable our MSMEs, or MISMIS as they call it, to take advantage of digital and online platforms to benefit their enterprises and to bring their products and services overseas.
And President Duterte's attendance to APEC 2018 in Papua New Guinea to highlight opportunities for small, medium-sized enterprises. Good evening. A big-time adjustment is expected in pump prices this week amid decreasing oil prices in the world market. Jeepney operators meanwhile assures that they are ready to lower basic fares on one condition. Let's find out why from Monokson.
A big-time rollback in petroleum prices is expected to take effect on Tuesday. Oil industry players say the price of gasoline will go down by up to 2 pesos and 50 centavos per liter, diesel by 2 pesos, and kerosene by 1 peso and 85 centavos. The hefty price cut will be implemented to reflect the slump in oil prices in the world market. Data from the Department of Energy show the net decrease for gasoline has reached more than 7 pesos per liter from October 15 up to November 12, more than 5 pesos for diesel and more than 4 pesos per liter for kerosene. Since January until October this year, the net increase for gasoline reached more than 9 pesos per liter, almost 12 pesos for diesel and more than 11 pesos for kerosene. Jeepney operators have expressed readiness to lower minimum fares back to 9 pesos from the current 10 pesos. That is, if petroleum prices continue its downward slope in the coming weeks, and if the LTFRB returns the fee they collected from jeepney operators who secured updated fare matrices.
Hindi nila masyado napakinabangan yung fare increase, and yet, nakasingil na malaki ng LTFRB. In fact, kaya nga gusto natin ipaalis na yung malaking bayad na yun eh. Para walang nalalamangan whether magtaas o magbaba ng pamasahe.
Many drivers have not acquired a copy of the fare matrix because according to them, it costs as much as their daily earnings plus all their other household expenses.
Dapat sana kung may bayad ba, hindi ganun kalaki. Siyempre, malaking kabawasan din sa amin yun. Kahit kalahati siguro pwede na, at saka yung proseso dapat mabilis.
Nagtataka rin ako, akala ko nga 50 lang eh. Nabigla ako nung sabi ng mga kumuha, 600 binayad nila. Pipila ka pa ng... Tapos napakarami pang kumukuha, pipila ka pa ron.
For its part, the LTFRB says a fair rollback is possible depending on the movement of oil prices in the world market. Mon Hokson, UNTV, News and Rescue, Quezon City.
President Rodrigo Duterte's attendance to Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation or APEC and Papua New Guinea is expected to highlight opportunities for small, medium-sized enterprises. Let's find out why from Rosalie Cos.
After spending several days in Singapore for the ASEAN 2018, the delegation of President Rodrigo Duterte is expected to travel to Papua New Guinea on November 15 to attend the Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation Summit. The APEC 2018 will run from November 17 to 18. The chief executive will meet 20 other economic leaders and representatives also attending the summit. However, there are no details yet if Duterte has scheduled bilateral meetings with other economic leaders on its sidelines. APEC is one of the biggest economic alliances of the Philippines aside from ASEAN. 84% of the country's total trade worldwide is with APEC economies. Foreign Affairs Undersecretary for Strategic Communications and Research Ernesto Abella says the Philippines' participation in APEC 2018 highlights opportunities for small and medium-sized enterprises. This is aside from the issue on tariff and trade barriers reduction.
The President conveys his support for mechanisms that will enable our MSMEs, or MISMIS as they call it, to take advantage of digital and online platforms to benefit their enterprises and to bring their products and services overseas.
This is the first time that Papua New Guinea will host APEC. Based on reports, Australia is assisting Papua New Guinea by shouldering 1/3 of the total cost of hosting APEC, as well as the provision of logistics and security. DFA says there are around 40,000 Filipinos working in Papua New Guinea, and there are 200 Filipino companies operating in the country. President Duterte's foremost schedule upon arrival in Papua is his meeting with the Filipino community.
There's a planned PhilCom meeting with the approximately 40,000 people, 40,000 Filipinos based there. He is scheduled to meet up with them.
Rosa Licoz, UNTV News and Rescue, Malacanang.
The Association of Southeast Asian Nations signs its first deal following the region's steps in promoting strict consumer data protection to address issues on e-commerce. Queenie Balyon tells us why.
The 10 member countries of the Association of Southeast Asian Nations signed on Monday the region's first agreement on e-commerce. The deal will provide business access to data and the opportunity to move data across borders more easily, subject to appropriate security safeguards. To achieve this, the regional bloc has started taking active steps to promote strict consumer data protection to address e-commerce issues. In his speech, Singapore Trade and Industry Minister Chan Chun Sing said the agreement is testament to ASEAN's commitment to create a conducive environment for the growth of e-commerce through advancing trade rules in e-commerce and building up greater digital connectivity within the region.
This agreement will help bolster the trust and confidence of ASEAN consumers in e-commerce and drive adoption. In doing so, we will enable ASEAN businesses to grow domestically, regionally, and globally.
The agreement, according to Minister Chan, will be an effective tool in driving the region towards full economic growth and achieve its goal of becoming the fourth biggest economy in the world by the year 2030. Meanwhile, speaking at the ASEAN Business and Investment Summit on Monday, Prime Minister Lee Hsien Loong highlighted the region's economic potential. Thus, he encourages members to open, adapt, and accept more domestic and foreign competitions. The Prime Minister said businesses must do their part to help governments pursue economic cooperation. Singapore, as this year's chair, promotes collective resilience and innovativeness among members, thus the theme towards a resilient and innovative ASEAN. Queenie Balyon, UNTV News and Rescue.
Some experts believe that the Philippines will not fall into a debt trap through China's loan offer to finance infrastructure projects. JL Asayo tells us why.
An expert believes that the Philippines will not be overloaded with debts even after the government took Chinese loans to bankroll some of its infrastructure projects. This is amid fears that the country will fall into a debt trap set by China through its offer to finance some infra projects under its Belt and Road Initiative. The Philippines has yet to join China's project, which aims to link Southeast Asia and South Pacific through massive infrastructure projects with multi-billion-dollar fund earmarked by the Asian power. According to Lucio Blanco Pitlo III, a research fellow at the Asia-Pacific Pathways to Progressive Foundation, it is unlikely for the Philippines to be trapped in heavy debts to China because of its high credit rating and stable economic growth when compared to its neighboring countries.
Yung economic fundamentals ng Pilipinas remains very strong, very vibrant. We become top global investment destination this year. Our higher credit rating, our fast growing economy are things that we have to always bear in mind when we deal with potential donors.
He, however, cautions the Philippine government to thoroughly study all aspects of contracts and offer made by China. Jose Luis Yulo Jr., the president of the Chamber of Commerce of Philippines, also advises the government to be a smart player when accepting international grants laden with conditions, particularly from China.
Iisipin mo, yung relasyon ba na ito, dalawa lang naman ang gusto mo malaman, di ba? Will you economically develop and give work to the Filipinos and give control of the economy Philippine-owned by Filipinos? Or will they end up owning everything here, and all of you will work for them.
China has previously assured its commitment to ensure that Beijing-funded project will not be adversely affect the Philippines' socio-economic growth. The Asian power also assured that China will not end up being owners of the facilities they offered to finance. Experts meanwhile hope that China and the Philippines' warming relation will continue and that issue involving the two countries such as the territorial dispute in the West Philippine Sea will be formally discussed when Chinese President Xi Jinping visits President Rodrigo Duterte in the third week of November. J.L. Asayo, UNTV News and Rescue, Manila.
National Democratic Front peace negotiators Fidel Agawili and Luis Halandoni are set to travel to the country in the coming weeks to meet with President Rodrigo Duterte. Here's why from Robbie de Guzman.
Peace negotiators from the National Democratic Front of the Philippines signified their intentions to meet with President Rodrigo Duterte, according to NDFP Peace Panel Chairman Fidel Agawili. The group seeks to hold a meeting next month upon the arrival of Agawili in the Philippines. In a statement posted on NDFP website, Agawili said their decision to reach out to President Duterte was hopefully to bring back both parties into the peace negotiating table as required of them under the Comprehensive Agreement on Respect for Human Rights and International Humanitarian Law. NDFP Negotiating Panel Senior Advisor Luis Halandoni will also join Agawili in the homecoming. Agawili said they would also talk with the Norwegian ambassador to the Philippines, with the Norwegian government acting as the third-party facilitator of the peace process. In response to the communist group's request, President Duterte confirmed in an event in Palawan that he held a cluster meeting with a representation from the military to discuss the said request of the NDFP.
Agawili and Halandoni, I will not keep it a secret. I do not want confidential. Pupunta dito, sabi nila gusto nila akong kausapin. Ang problema nila pagka hinuli sila. So sabi ko, talagang hulihin kayo. Sabi niya, gusto daw nila ako magipag ano sa kanila. So nagtawag ako ng cluster meeting, kasali ng mga military. So what do you think?
It was in November last year when President Duterte called off the peace negotiations because of the communist group's lack of sincerity for peace by continuously attacking government troops on the ground. Meanwhile, the president mentioned in March this year that he still welcomes the idea of reopening the talks. However, the venue must be in the Philippines, which the communist group previously rejected. Robbie de Guzman, UNTV News and Rescue.
Around 96 former members of the New People's Army from Surigao surrendered to the government amid ongoing localized peace talks. Interior and Local Government Secretary Eduardo Año led the ceremonial turnover of the former rebels' firearms on a Saturday. The rebel returnees will receive a cash and livelihood assistance under the government's enhanced comprehensive localized integrated program. Under the Duterte administration, more than 6,000 NPA rebels have surrendered to the government. 800 of them have already received financial aid, while the rest are still undergoing validation process.
Sabay-sabay naman yung ginagawa nating localized peace talk at saka yung pagbigay ng e-clip. Tapos meron na tayong responde sa bawat pangyayari na nagaganap. Talagang ganyan, no? May mga peace spoiler. So kailangan natin ibang approach dito sa mga peace spoiler. Pero dito sa mga nakahanda ng mag-surrender, ito yung package sa e-clip.
The AFP Cavaliers and Malacanang PSC Camao kept their top spots while the Ombudsman Grapbusters bows out as the first round eliminations of the UNTV Cup Season 7 drew to a close. Bernard Daddies tells us why.
Two-time champion AFP Cavaliers prolonged their winning streak to 5 after downing the Senate defenders in the end of the first round eliminations of the 7th edition of the UNTV Cup last Thursday. The AFP banked on its tight defense plays throughout the Season 6 champion by maintaining a 5 to 9 point advantage and controlling all game quarters. The Cavaliers lean on its cagers Darwin Cordero and Jerry Lumungsod, who gave a total of 37 points with 4 3-point shots each. Cordero and Lumungsod were hailed as the best players of the game. With 5 victories and 0 defeats, the APEC still tops the Group A, while Senate's 3-2 win-loss record puts them in the 3rd spot. The Malacanang PSC Camao meanwhile steals the Group B lead from the DA Foodmasters after the latter received a beating in their match 75-63. Best players of the game Vishnu Das Javier and Eric De La Cuesta led the Malacanang to victory with their combined 35-point finish. The Ombudsman Dropbusters, on the other hand, bowed out of the Charity League after their stinging loss against the NHA Builders 94-57. Jose Adolfo earned the Best Player of the Game title after bucketing 17 points. The NHA now settles in the 2nd in the Group B ranking from the 3rd place following its latest win. Bernard Dadis, UNTV News and Rescue, Philippines.
The National Wages and Productivity Commission has announced that the 500 to 537 pesos new minimum wage rates for Metro Manila workers will take effect on November 22. The announcement comes after the Department of Labor and Employment officially confirmed the 25 peso wage increase for private sector minimum wage earners. The Wage Board says objecting parties may file their appeal within 10 days of the wage order's release. Meanwhile, the Labor Department questions the 3rd quarter survey of the social weather stations on the country's unemployment rate. The SWS poll conducted from September 15 to 23 of 2018 showed that 22% or 9.8 million Filipinos were unemployed. This is higher than the 2.3 million figure reported in the labor force survey of the Philippine Statistics Authority in July. DOLE clarifies that the SWS used different criteria of unemployment, age and sample population, and dates when it conducted the interview. The agency says that the employment rate in the country exhibited a generally increasing trend since 2010.
Over the last decade, the recent employment outturn is recorded as the highest among previous July rounds, with similar results in July 2016 with an estimated 480,000 net generated employment. Total employment reached 40.7 million.
The Department of the Interior and Local Government confirmed the possible filing of a complaint against 96 local government officials who are allegedly involved in illegal drugs. The DILG is determined to recommend to President Rodrigo Duterte to release to the public the narco list in his possession, especially now that it is election season. Nel Marie Bohok will tell us why.
The Department of the Interior and Local Government and the Philippine Drug Enforcement Agency continue to verify the personalities who are allegedly involved in illegal drugs. According to DILG Secretary Eduardo Año, out of more than 1,700 local government officials, they now have the names that they can already file charges against.
For the local government officials, including some congressmen, 96 lahat ito.
The DILG is ready to recommend to President Rodrigo Duterte to release to the public the narco list in his possession. Año said it is high time to release the names of the personalities who can either be protectors or are somehow involved in illegal drugs, as it is now election season.
Iba-ibang level yan. Merong cuddling, merong magto-tolerate, merong mismong involved. Sabi ko nga, PIDEA yung maglalabas yan. Sa akin, I am really recommending na ilabas natin yan.
Senator Francis Escudero challenged the DILG to immediately release the narco list. According to the senator, this move will be considered fair to all politicians.
Kung talagang tiwala sila at kumpiyansa sila na may basihan yung listahang yon, bakit hindi nila ilabas? Para naman hindi lahat ng lokal na opisyal, lahat ng congressman ay pagdududahan na nasa listahan o baka nasa listahan yon. Oportunidad na rin yon sa maski na sinong mapapangalanan na linisin ang pangalan niya at kasuhan sino mang taga-PIDEA o DILG na maglalagay ng pangalan doon ang wala naman talagang ebidensya o basihan.
Senator Escudero added it will be fair to also leave to the voters if they will still vote for the personalities who are included in the narco list. Nel Maribuhok, UNTV News and Rescue, Senate of the Philippines.
The Philippine National Police is eyeing to coordinate with the Department of the Interior and Local Government following the recent arrest of several gun-for-hire group members in Isabela and Quezon City. Leah Ilagan tells us why.
Philippine National Police Chief Police Director General Oscar Albayalde confirms that incumbent politicians and candidates for the 2019 elections have sought the services of 5 guns for hire arrested by PNP anti-kidnapping group in Quezon City and Isabela. Albayalde says the criminal syndicate headed by Ricardo Peralta is often hired by governors and mayors to serve as private armies and to commit intimidation or even assassination against their political rivals.
Kaya nga we are serious and we have intensified our campaign against private armed groups and campaign against loose firearms.
The PNP chief refused to name said politicians who hail from Nueva Ecija, Cagayan, Metro Manila, Bulacan, and La Union, but assures they will coordinate with the Department of the Interior and Local Government regarding the allegations.
We can always conduct police operations against them. And if we get evidence that they are also in possession of unlicensed firearms, we can always apply search warrants also against them. And we will coordinate with the SILG on that also, kung anong pwede niyang maging action on the part of the DILG.
PNP AKG Director Chief Superintendent Glenn Dumlao says that 5 suspects were found to be in possession of high-caliber guns, ammunition, and grenades. The AKG has launched a manhunt for the group's leader who has a 5 million peso bounty on his head offered by the Volunteers Against Crime and Corruption over various crimes.
Okay, iba na po yung personality ni Rick Peralta. Iba na yung mukha niya at iba yung ginagamit niyang mga pangalan. That's why yung mga politiko, mga kliyente nila ay ina-accept siya dahil hindi naman nila siya kilala. He is passing himself as security consultant with a military and police background.
The PNP vows to exert efforts in capturing criminal syndicates that are being used by politicians as their private armies. Leah Ilagan, UNTV News and Rescue, Camp Crame.
The House of Representatives will insist on the contempt order against former BOC intelligence officer Jimmy Guban, even though the Department of Justice placed him under the Witness Protection Program. The investigation by the House Committee on Dangerous Drugs will continue as session resumes. Grace Cassin will tell us why.
The House Committee on Dangerous Drugs is not in favor that Jimmy Guban is now placed under Witness Protection Program of the Department of Justice. According to Committee Chairman Ace Barbers, until Guban answers the questions of the members of the committee, he must be detained at the House of Representatives. Guban is a key witness in a multi-billion peso drug smuggling in the Bureau of Customs. Barbers said he will clarify Guban's admission to the WPP with Justice Secretary Menardo Guevara.
Talaga i-detain namin siya rito. In fact, we even mentioned in the last hearing na after the detention order is lifted in the Senate, Jimmy Guban will enjoy a extended staycation in the House of Representatives.
The House will continue the investigation until they have identified the officials who connived to smuggle the 11 billion peso shabu shipment in the Bureau of Customs.
Very clear no na mukhang may kutsabahan no doon sa tatlong malalaking ahensya ng gobyerno na naatasan na lumaban sa droga. No? Ano-ano itong mga to? PIDEA, Philippine National Police at yung BOC. No?
Barber sees nothing wrong in changing the leadership in the BOC. Even the investigation is not yet concluded.
This is just an opinion coming from me. Wala akong nakikitang kinalaman ni Commissioner La Peña dyan sa pagpapalusot ng mga shipments o illegal na shipments o kargamentong yan.
In the coming days, the House is set to release the subpoena to invite Guban and the heads of POC, PNP and PIDEA for the continuation of the investigation, as well as the personalities that are allegedly involved in the case, such as retired Colonel Eduardo Asierto and PIDEA Deputy Chief for Administration Ismael Fajardo. Grace Casin, UNTV News and Rescue, House of Representatives.
Former Customs Chief and now TESDA Director General Isidro La Peña is facing graft raps over the alleged illegal release of 105 container vans from the Port of Manila last March. In a complaint filed with the Department of Justice, the National Bureau of Investigation recommended that La Peña be charged and prosecuted for violation of Section 3, Paragraph E of Republic Act No. 3019, otherwise known as the Anti-Graft and Corrupt Practices Act. The NBI pointed out that La Peña issued manual alert orders for the subject container vans, even though the electronic-to-mobile E2M system was accessible and fully operational. NBI alleges that La Peña's action led to the release of the shipments, escaping the revenues that the Republic of the Philippines is entitled to, which signifies his intention to cause injury to the government and took advantage of his office. Apart from this, the NBI also recommended La Peña be administratively charged with gross neglect of duty and grave misconduct. The former customs chief has yet to comment on the complaint. The Philippine National Police Custodial Center is prepared in case the court decides to place former First Lady Imelda Marcos under the PNP's custody. However, PNP Chief Oscar Albayalde says they have not been notified yet for advanced coordination with the court regarding the release of the arrest warrant against Marcos. Albayalde adds that in consideration of Marcos' age and health condition, they have not ordered personnel of the Criminal Investigation and Detection Group to wait at the gates of Congress, like in the case of Senator Antonio Trillanes. Nevertheless, the PNP chief has directed the CIDG director to lead the arrest upon release of the warrant. At present, Marcos is facing a minimum of 6 years in prison and perpetual disqualification from holding public office after the Sandigan Bayan found her guilty of 7 counts of graft. However, the former First Lady may still post bail for her provisional liberty as graft is a bailable case. The Senate is now working on ratifying a bill which seeks to place 6 government housing development agencies under one department. Ray Pelayo tells us why.
Nicanor and Carmela Golem have been living in a shanty by the creek along Nia Road in Barangay Piñahan in Quezon City. They once received a housing unit from the government located in Morong, Rizal, but they decided to return to their shanty home in the city because it is way nearer to their source of income than the housing unit in Rizal.
Kung doon pa sila uuwi, kulang na ang kita ng kainin pa namin.
Problems on inaccessibility and slow-paced construction works have long dogged government housing projects. The Senate hopes to resolve these recurring problems with the proposal seeking to create a Department for Human Settlement and Urban Development. Senate Committee Chair on Urban Planning, Housing and Resettlement Senator J.V. Ejercito said once the bill is enacted into law, 6 agencies will be transferred under the department, including the National Housing Authority, Home Guarantee Corporation, National Home Mortgage Finance Corporation, the Home Development Mutual Fund, and the Social Housing Finance Corporation. The measure would combine the administrative function of Housing and Urban Development Coordinating Council with the planning and regulatory functions of the Housing and Land Use Regulatory Board.
Hopefully, masolve natin yung mga substandard na quality ng pabahay. Pangalawa ay yung location, sana mas maganda, mas may ayos. At pangatlo, yung production mas mapabilis.
The creation of the department will also address the current housing backlog of 1.2 million units across the country, which is feared to reach up to 5 to 6 million in 4 years.
Sana ang maging trust natin, ang maging challenge ng housing industry, wala nang dapat tawaging squatter sa sariling bayan in 20 years time.
So, nandun pa rin yun sa NHA, corporation, but this time,
Instead, under siya sa Office of the President, it has become an attached agency to the Department of Human Settlement and Urban Development.
Ejercito says President Rodrigo Duterte is likely to sign the bill before the year ends. Ray Pilayo, UNTV News and Rescue.
The UN High Commissioner for Refugees recently expressed concern about the Myanmar-Bangladesh deal on mid-November for the rush of repatriating Rohingya Muslims to Myanmar. Queenie Balyon is in the International Media Center in Singapore. Tell us why live. Yes, Queenie, go ahead.
The United Nations Refugee Agency is cautioning against the repatriation at this time of ethnic Rohingya Muslims who fled to Bangladesh to escape army-led violence in Myanmar. The UN High Commissioner for Refugees issued the warning after Myanmar's government announced Sunday that repatriation would begin Thursday, November 15, of the 700,000 Rohingya who fled to refugee camps in Bangladesh. Myanmar State Councilor Aung San Suu Kyi, in her earlier speech during a business conference earlier today, admitted that Myanmar is literally a developing country and is now building foundations for internal stability.
Some regions are less developed than others, and we often have to invest for the sake of social cohesion and harmony rather than for pure economic.
Despite this, Suu Kyi did not mention of the Rohingya Muslims and the situations at Rakhine State. The Myanmar leader also did not take any questions after her speech. Jego, tomorrow will be the big day as the 33rd ASEAN Summit formally opens at exactly 5:30 in the afternoon. That's the latest news here in Singapore. Back to you, Jego.
Thank you, Queenie Balyon, reporting live from Singapore. A number of passengers complained on what they claim as confusing and complicated details being imposed in the newly opened Parañaque Integrated Terminal Exchange, or PITX. John Nano will tell us why.
The first land port in the country named as the Parañaque Integrated Terminal Exchange, or PITX, has started its operations. Earlier today, hundreds of passengers flocked to the newly opened terminal, as well as public utility vehicles with routes going to Cavite, Batangas, and in various areas in Metro Manila. Despite its state-of-the-art facilities, some passengers complained on what they claimed as confusing system being imposed in the new terminal. Mommy Lani, who is bound for Nasugbu, Batangas, and passenger Edwina Samonte complained about the inadequate signages in PITX that made things confusing.
Para sa akin po, napaka-hassle po lang sila sa mga signage. Galing po kami sa Coastal Mall, dun sa lumang mall. Tapos, nagkamali kami ng daan, which is wala naman talagang signage na nakalagay. Simula sa may Coastal Mall hanggang dito po is 60. Buti na lang may extra din kaming dalang pera.
Walang nakalagay kung ano mga karatula doon saan papunta. Ito kanina Loton, tapos bigla naman ay iba na naman ang nakalagay ng mga bus. Dapat ito mayroong designated na mga nakalagay diyan kung saan dapat 'yon. Kasi hirap eh.
Meanwhile, it took more than an hour before some passengers were able to ride since there were limited number of buses at PITX.
Pero doon noon, yung dati, madali lang doon. Ngayon ko lang na-experience to eh. Mahirap. Alas 9, hindi pa kami makakasakay. Walang bus.
Marian Riva, who was bound for Buendia in Makati, complained of the numerous ride transfers she had to take before she could reach her destination.
Ngayon po, nagpaganon-ganon, mahirap po. Kasi hindi namin alam kung saan kami sasakay ulit papuntang Buendia, samantalang dapat naman diretso lang.
But while others were complaining, some found the new terminal as more convenient.
Okay naman po. Kasi hindi na kamainitan. Parang airport na rin kasi siya. Tapos, wala nang siksikan masyado. Kasi hindi naagawan sa bus. Kasi sa ibang terminal, mas siksikan.
The first time, ang ganda, ang lawak talaga. Tsaka mas convenient, comfortable.
Megawide, who is in charge of managing PITX, said that they understand and welcome criticisms from passengers. They said it is normal for passengers to find the system as difficult and confusing since the terminal is still new.
Gaya nga ng nangyayari sa isang bagong facility, nagkakaroon ng period of adjustment. Kasi nga may kinasanayan ng mga tao sa biyahe, kailangan kasi nating mangyari ito, magkaroon ng period of adjustment para mas malaking objective. Ang objective na yun ay mapabuti yung traffic sa Metro Manila.
The Department of Transportation earlier said that they are expecting the negative reactions of the passengers. They are, however, confident that passengers will eventually be able to cope with the new system. Joanano, UNTV News and Rescue, Parañaque City.
The original composition of A Visually Impaired Man was named as the grand winner of a Song of Praise songwriting competition this year, besting 11 other entries penned by amateur and professional composers. Apart from gospel music and powerful performances, ASOP Finals night was also filled with pleasant surprises. Joanano tells us why.
The Philippines' first and only worship songwriting tilt, a Song of Praise Music Festival or ASOP, capped off its 7th Grand Finals night at the New Frontier Theater in Cubao, Quezon City on Sunday. 12 masterpieces written by aspiring songwriters took center stage, echoing uplifting heavenly music right into the hearts of the crowd. The Gospel Fest named visually impaired songwriter John Paul Salazar's original composition entitled Tugtog as the Song of the Year with 500,000 peso cash prize. Upcoming OPM trio Brads made the audience sway and dance to the upbeat melody of the song. Salazar penned his original composition despite suffering from blurry vision due to stage 3 glaucoma. Songwriting has become his hobby since his condition compels him to stay at home for most of the time.
Una, nagpapasalamat talaga ako ng sobra sa Panginoon. Umawit ako sa Panginoon kasi masaya ako. At sa pag-awit ko sa Panginoon, tumutugtog din ang puso ko.
Nakarelate po kami dun sa song kasi kami po ay mga musicians. Ngayon po in-encourage po namin ng lahat na sumubok po tayong gumawa ng awit para sa Diyos. At para po mabigyan naman po natin ng kapurihan, yun pong lumalang sa atin.
24-year-old songwriter Edward Saldes, 1,000,000 pasasalamat, secured the first place. ASOP Year 4 Best Interpreter awardee Lea Patricio returned to ASOP stage to render a powerful performance of Saldes' composition. Salde received 300,000 peso cash for his winning entry. Overseas Filipino worker Emmanuel Lipio's hope-filled, soul-soothing gospel hymn, God is With Us, took home 150,000 pesos for the second runner-up. Its interpreter, Shelo Nunez, has been named as this year's Best Interpreter. Nunez was awarded with 50,000 peso cash prize. With his 90s-sounding worship hymn, Di Na Ko Aawit, Romel Goho bagged 100,000 peso for winning third runner-up. Non-winning entries each received 20,000 pesos. The People's Choice Award was given to LJ Manzano's original Banal Mong Salita, which was interpreted by R&B charmer Mark Michael Garcia. Manzano received 50,000 peso prize. Apart from the major awards, the Gospel Fest launched a new special award with a 200,000 peso cash Brother Eli Soriano's Choice, which was given to Hiling, a self-penned gospel track by visually impaired composer Jeffrey Lim. The song was interpreted by OPM rock outfit Pletora. DMPI CEO and President Kuya Daniel Razon thanked the songwriters and interpreters for sharing their talent to glorify the Almighty. He also announced the plan to add 100,000 to the grand prize of succeeding ASOP TV seasons. For its 8th year in 2019, the grand winner will take home 800,000 pesos.
Habang meron pa tayong buhay, may pagkakataon pa tayo, ay maipagpatuloy natin na pumuri sa Diyos. At kung sa maliit na paraan, ito pong A Song of Praise Music Festival ay nakaka-contribute para mas madagdagan yung mga tao na nag-a-acknowledge sa kabutihan ng Panginoon. With God's help, we will continue. At ipagpapatuloy po natin ito.
ASOP TV originator and primary supporter Brother Eliseo Soriano read verses from the scriptures, citing that singing praises to God is a commandment in the New Testament.
Mas maganda kantahan natin ng Diyos. Yun ang aking point of view. There is one powerful person who made everything and who maintained everything, lalo na ang ating buhay. We owe Him our our lives. We owe Him everything that we need. Kaya meron tayong katungkulang siya'y pasalamatan at purihin.
Yet again, ASOP expressed gratitude to God for another amazing year and also thanked supporters for the overwhelming support. Since it opened in 2011, ASOP vows to continue to inspire talents and celebrate original Filipino praise music to glorify the maestro of music. Joan Nano, UNTV News and Rescue, Philippines.
Up next on Y News.
But we're in a new abnormal, and things like this will be part of our future. And this won't be the beginning. It'll be things like this and worse.
Ferocious winds whip California fires as death toll rises to 31. Poor air quality in India's capital triggers health concerns. And Australia nabs a woman accused of using needles to contaminate strawberries. And those are the reasons behind the stories in the second part of our newscast. Y News returns with William Thio. I'm Angelo Castro III. Good evening.